All right, so Mr. Gardner, I think you skipped item 6A3.
That was deliberate because I wanted to save the best for last. If you look at that report, you will see that it's the shortest comment on the items, and it never occurred to me that that would be the subject that the press would latch on to. I spent most of Tuesday, Wednesday, I guess it was, talking to no less than 9 reporters about the cats. And so I want to make it clear for the record that we need to celebrate and honor these cats, because while they have created somewhat of a nuisance for us, they have done a superior job of getting rid of all other rodents. Nicole said she hadn't seen a rodent in 2 years. So our feral cats have been working very hard and have been very successful. They have multiplied, though, in numbers. And so now we need to devise a plan that we can at least control the population. And we have been working with the City of Oakland's Animal Control Department. In fact, I think we have a meeting this afternoon to talk further about what strategies we might employ. I had put out the idea of maybe an adoption program, and have since learned that that probably would only be successful for the kittens. The adults are already, they've already developed their skills, and they're not likely to be successfully adopted. So we're looking at a variety of strategies, but one of them is, and the A's have offered that they would help if we had an adoption program, particularly for the kittens. So that's one of the things that we will be doing. We've also been advised by the city that one of the things we can do, and I say it in the report, is to make sure that our dumpsters are secure. And we can do a better job of that. But the reality is that when we have events and people bring whatever they didn't finish eating and dump it on the ground, it's not just the dumpsters. So anyway, we think we will get this under control. We can live with the cats. They do good work, but we need to deactivate some of them. We don't need quite as many as we've got on duty right now. Early in the morning, we find them sometimes sitting in the go-karts, in the driver's seat, like they're ready to go on rodent patrol. But anyway, I put that in there just in case you heard anything from any patrons about feral cats running around. But it never occurred to me that the press would latch on to that, and that became the story. In fact, I was told there was a story this morning still about the cats. But it's a good news story, so happy about that.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gardner, for that report. Yeah, I just want to state that I was quite surprised myself. 10 years on the Oakland City Council, 20 plus years as a county supervisor, so more than 30 years in government, and I was quite surprised when the press started contacting my office for me to give them comments on feral cats out at the Coliseum. Clearly, I didn't have the time to be speaking to that matter, so I'm glad that you took on that assignment and did it extremely well.
I created the problem.
So let's see if there's other comments from commissioners.
Vice Chair Kaplan has her hand raised.
Okay.
Yes, well, certainly glad that it's cut down on the rats. And as it's almost Passover, I hope we won't get into a spiral of then we bring in dogs to chase the cats, and then we bring in, lions to chase the dogs, and we could have entire chains, perhaps ending with a goat. But I did want to say that I did talk to Oakland Animal Services, and they recommend that for the older cats that the goal should be to spay and neuter as many of them as possible. And that also, as I see we have a fair number of the press on the line with us today, the Oakland Animal Services also said it's really important to remind the public to spay and neuter their pets. So for the media watching and for members of the public watching, please make sure to spay and neuter their pets, and to remind people not to adopt pets that they don't then care for and maintain, as there may be some number of abandoned pets that has transpired in recent year. But they recommended looking at spaying and neutering as many as possible in our facility, as well as the catching and adopting of the kittens, and urging the public to spay and neuter their pets, in addition to the sharing of doing what we can to seal the garbage to prevent attracting them. And thank you for this, and your break from talking about sickness and disease to talking about cats. So thank you.
Other comments from commissioners? Do we have any comments from the public?
Zennie Abraham of Zennie 62 Media. I just want to note that I'm proud to report that the Black-owned media in Oakland News Now, owned by Zennie 62 Media, and the Oakland Post did not focus on a story regarding feral cats as a top story regarding the Coliseum, when the Coliseum has a loss of roughly $200 million due to a change in fund balance, among other problems. It's also a good idea to say to the public how they should treat the matter of spotting these cats at games. Are they allowed to take them out or what? I mean, it's one thing to focus on this in a humorous way because 8 to 10 media organizations that are white-owned are focused on. I'm being blunt, but the reality is that you created a situation of focus on those cats that could create an untenable problem that you didn't anticipate. So I think that needs to be handled. And I just want to speak that and remind you that, there's a different kind of press too, that you spend a lot of time ignoring. Okay. Thank you.
We have another speaker with their hand raised, with the last name of Lucas Conwell. Speaker, you're unmuted and allowed to speak for 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Colette Lucas Conwell with the Oakland Days. We just wanted to say that we're happy to support the JPA and Henry Gardner in whichever ways needed. Like Zennie said, if there's any communication that we can share during games, please let us know. We're happy to do that. As long as the cats are adoptable, we're happy to work with the JPA, any local nonprofits to host some kind of, Coliseum kittens adoption drive. So just keep us in the loop. I know that David Brunetti, our stadium operations vice president, will be at the meeting at 3 p.m. today. So I think Henry, he'll be there. Just send him any information his way. Thanks.
Thank you, Speaker.
Any other speakers?
There are no other speakers with their hand raised.
So, Mr. Gardner, any response? And I guess there's a follow-up meeting today on this?
Yes, there will be several follow-up meetings. As I said, the feral cats have been contributors. Need to be real clear about that. And so the approach as to how to manage them in a humane way so that they're not being disruptive. That's the story.
Okay, so I'm assuming that if there's more to this matter, you'll report back to us at our next JPA meeting?
Sure. Indeed.
Okay. Yes.
Commissioner Reid has her hand raised.
Sure. Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to share, we did hear from Director Dunn just regarding, and perhaps we can have the clarity on this, Mr. Gardner, regarding adoption. She had indicated that the cats were not socialized to people, so it could become a concern or an issue to place them up for adoption. And so I think we might need to get some more insight on that path that's being considered.
I think there's general consensus that feral cats generally are not subjects for adoption. It really would be the kittens. And Vice Chair Kaplan addressed the other part that I had left out, that the spaying and neutering are an important part of the strategy of controlling the population. But probably only the kittens really would be eligible for adoption.
Thank you so much for clarifying.
Anybody else?
There are no other hands raised.
All right. So like I said, I believe there's more to be considered relative to this issue. The feral cats, Mr. Gardner will report back to us at our next JPA meeting on this. Yeah, sorry if we made light of it, because I do recognize that it is an issue for both the team and then for folks who feel concerned about the welfare of animals. Okay,